completing the thinking process, would anybody like to share? Anybody have an illustration of deeper learning they want to share? Would you be willing to share it?
I could picture someone snorkeling and then picture someone scuba.
Excellent. Thank you. So she continued the metaphor. Anybody else have something different?
I did a picture of a tree with roots.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Fruit growing on a tree.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Anybody else want to share maybe their own definition or another illustration?
Mine's more of an analogy. I started to illustrate.
That's
it
okay.
a lot. So it's kind of like an ecosystem where everything's connected and relies on the other thing.
Love it. It's like an ecosystem. I love it. Please look at each other and say, I'm sure you have a great box number 1. Okay. Now, I wish I could have every person in here share it, but I'm going to move on if that's okay, because I've got a lot of strategies I want you to participate in. I've got to tell you, though, how many of you plan to use 4-choice processing in your classroom? Kids will love it. You might need to tweak or change it K through 3, because this one is my adult version. Okay. With that in mind, why do we facilitate deeper learning and how? Why and how? Because research says kids who experience deeper learning more often seem to display many characteristics of a love for learning. Raise your hand if you want your kids to love learning. It's my number 1 goal. You know, it's so sad to have students just come in and hate reading or hate writing because of an experience that they had maybe the year before or years before. And it can happen. But you know what? We can change their brains. We can get them to love reading. We can get them to love writing, but it might take a little more time. They tend to be more intrinsically motivated. They also tend to set personal goals and strategies to achieve those goals. But all kids can have these characteristics if we give them the what? Those opportunities. And if you would, please do a drum roll on your legs. Normally we have tables, and we can really get a loud drum roll going. But here we go. These are the 7 steps. In a whole day workshop, this is easy. I talk a little bit about planning the standards in the curriculum and how to put it into meaningful patterns. And then I talk about pre-assessing. There is a chapter in the Deeper Learning book on each one of these. But because of time limitations, I'm going to focus in on the pieces that I believe teachers came here for. I've seen you guys get lots of workshops on Common Core State Standards. Smile if you've received lots of workshops on it. Pre-assessing. Maybe you don't get a lot of workshops on pre-assessment, but that's pretty easy to understand. Pre-assessing kids to see where they are with your standards before you teach them. And in deeper learning, I have about 10 different examples. Number 3, building a positive learning culture. That is foundational for our classrooms. You won't have kids doing super sleuths, feeling really free if they don't feel comfortable in your classroom. Okay? But these 3 are different workshops. I'm going to focus on number 4, 5, and 6. Number 7 is threaded throughout. But I'm going to focus on how do you prime and activate their prior knowledge? And then how do you get them to acquire new knowledge? And then how do we get to the deeper learning? This is the thinking piece. And this will be the last 45 minutes of the workshop right here, spending a lot of time on number 6. So I wanted to share the big picture with you. And how on earth are we going to keep all this straight in our heads? Because I want you to organize your learning. We're going to do it through a mind map. I know you're so excited about mind mapping. Can I just, let me show you the finished product of a mind map. The kids take great pride in it. And they want more. Yeah. And you're thinking it takes hours and hours and hours. No. This was a rough draft, and Christina Bax has made this meaningful. By the way, this is New Trier High School in Chicago, and Christina had to stand up in front of her peers and present for 25 minutes on the topic of first contacts between Puritans and Native Americans. So I asked her teacher, I said, this is a beautiful mind map. Thank you so much for sharing. But did she learn this stuff? Did she own it? Could she debate it? Could she really talk to you? Could she answer your questions about it? He goes, yes. She knew it forward, backward, inside out. You can't grade these and evaluate every little detail on here. You grade how well they can explain that mind map. Christina learned a lot that day. Well, you guys know that my kids attend Scotts Ridge Middle School. I told you about that at the beginning. Keenan and Aubrey came home one evening. They go, Mom, did you teach Miss Dowd how to mind map? I go, I did. I'm sorry. It was the last staff development. Every teacher in your district knows how to teach mind mapping. And they said, well, thanks a lot, because now it's homework. But guess what? They would not put their homework up that night. I came in, I go, you guys, it's 9:15. It's, we got to get ready for bed. Mom, we for once want to do our homework, and you're making us go to bed? Guess what? I didn't mind anymore. I let them stay up. And the next night, too. Here's Keaton's. Aubrey took hers out. I don't know where she put it. It's on Sweden. I don't know where it is. He learned so much, because guess what? I wanted to see. Beautiful mind map, Keaton. Well, let me see if you learn it, if you learned it. We talked about the religion and the language and the work and the government, and I created questions, and he knew it so well. He goes, Mom, and did you know? Da-da-da-da-da-da. He goes, we got to go visit Italy, Mom. I said, yeah, on your dime, honey. So anyway, before you moan and groan, it is a challenge at the beginning, but eventually the kids get it, and they love it. And now I see kids doing it independently at the high school level. Like they just use it as a way to take notes. I'm going to invite you to do that. See a mind map, you put the main idea right in the center. Everybody, do I have the main idea in the center for you? When you walked in, you should have gotten a blank one of these. If not, I might need one of you to volunteer to quickly. How many people did not get one of these? Oh, Javier, could you help us? It looks like this. It's a blank mind map. And if he will make sure everybody gets one of these, I appreciate so much. So right in the middle, I've already gotten it started for you because you want to support your students. You want to give them a blank mind map so that they can mind map better. So here's a blank template. And then each one of these are categories or subtitles. By the way, it's just like a web. Every teacher knows how to web. Teachers have said it's like a web. It's creatively expressing my thoughts, which by the way, this word creative, 21st century term. We've got to get kids more opportunities to express their creativity in the classroom. It's placing content in its right place according to that kid's brain. It's an individualized strategy. It's my thinking on paper. It's highly differentiated as well. So with that in mind, if you really want your students to remember something, then give them the opportunity to make chaotic information meaningful patterns. In the primary grades, you can do this so easily by giving them certain words and pictures and having them put them in the categories. It's more of a kinesthetic mind map. Pictures and words going together based on how they think the pieces go together. This process of creating relationships among words, phrases, symbols, and color creates meaning. Everybody say meaning is good. We've got to get them creating meaning. And they own their mind maps to the point where they don't want to share them. So let's share the characteristics of mind mapping. It's on page 12 to my knowledge. You put the main topic in the middle. Everybody say check. Because I have done that for you right here. Number 2, represent related topics and spokes around the main topic. If I did that for you, please say check. Number 3, use color. This is where we fall apart in my workshops. Because I used to be able to carry these in my suitcase until they started charging me more money because my suitcase weighed more than 50 pounds. So it is twist-up crayons, twist-up pencils. Middle school, high school kids love the twist-up pencils. The elementary kids love to twist-up crayons, just something different. I see some colored markers up here. Color enhances memory anywhere from 20 to 25%. Use more color. And that's one of the reasons those kids love the mind maps. Number 3, print the word as much as possible versus cursive. Okay? The brain just remembers the printed word better than the cursive word. Number 5, represent ideas with symbols. A picture paints 1,000 words. Okay? You want as many symbols on here as possible. Teachers, you have the right to draw pictures in this workshop. You don't have to write phrases or words. You can draw a picture to represent what I say. And then number 6, use arrows or underlines to highlight important ideas. And then number 7, I already have started your clusters. So we're going to start up here. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of ways to prime the brain and to activate prior knowledge. And it's a note-taking tool for you. Believe it or not, you'll stay focused better. And then eventually you'll feel very proud of this piece if we had the color and all the non-linguistics attached to it. Here's some examples that you can do on iMindMap software. There's also inspiration.com. Inspiration is a software program. How many of you have that in your schools? It's a software program that you can create mind maps on the computer. I still recommend doing it on paper, pencil first. And then here's one from the younger years here. We've got types of trees, parts of trees, needs, leaves. The only thing missing here are some powerful pictures. I'd love to see some non-linguistics up here. And then look at this one. Very relevant. The road to the White House. The road to the White House. What a creative mind map. The kids understood the steps better because it was chaotic to them, and they created some type of visual to help them remember it and understand the whole process. That's deeper learning, but it's the kids constructing it, not you. So, with that in mind, it is time to prepare to take our notes from here. But before we do that, we got to get our brains ready. Because in the afternoon, I'm sure you agree, it's the hardest time to teach. Everybody agree? So, everybody please stand up. It is time to do some crazy cross laterals. You're thinking, I'm out of here. That's it. All you do is move. Because when we move, more oxygen gets to the what? The brain. And that is good in our classrooms. And you're going to have to do it often, and we can incorporate it into deeper learning. Because, by the way, if you haven't noticed, I have processing bags on the outside part of the aisles. I can only go so far over here. These are my processing bags I take with me to all my workshops. If there's something in here you want, just email me and say, Leanne, I want that spinner. I'll send it to you in color. Okay? And you can just make your own. But this makes learning kinesthetic, because it's not happening at the middle school and high school level. But getting kids to spin and answer a question, they love this. I'm going to end with the 6 thinking hats. You will not want to miss the 6 thinking hats. I'll share with you how I use 6 colorful hats to engage all the kids into deeper learning. And we'll, of course, use the brain ball sooner or later. But here's a way to get kinesthetic learning occurring in your classroom at deeper levels. We'll get to that soon, because I believe kinesthetic learning is very powerful. When your kids need a brain break, though, here's some fun cross laterals that you can use. By the way, these are so good that they're free. North Carolina PE teachers documented them and placed them here. They have a whole bunch for K through 2, 3 through 5, and then all the upper grades. They have several unique ones. Your kids will enjoy them. So with that in mind, let's try a few out. Everybody clap your hand together like this. And let's do a sideways 8. And my kid said, Mrs. Nicholson, that's called the infinity sign. I said, okay, then let's do a real 8. So go ahead, do a real 8. Now we got a leg cross. Right leg over left. Left leg over right. Right leg over left. We could become the Rockettes, possibly, okay? And then ear to nose. This one you can do sitting down. Put your finger on your nose. Put your finger on your ear. And switch. And switch. And some of you need more caffeine. And now the other ear. Switch, 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 switch. Ear to ear to ear to ear to ear. Okay, now elbow to knee. If you have tight pants on, do not do this. Okay, elbow to knee. Elbow to knee. Elbow to knee. And eventually we do Jane Fonda. Okay, last one. Leanne Loop. I think I learned this on Zaboomafoo. I have no idea where I learned it, but it looks like this. Now, I am here for the rest of the day if you need some help with this one. In slow motion, it's out, cross, bring them up and rotate, and back down. Now, I'd like for you to get in groups of 5 and say, we're a team. Oh, yeah. I'll come help you guys. Get in groups of 5 and say, we're a quick team. And on the count of 3, turn to someone in the group, and you're going to point and say, you're it. Whoever you think will do a good job leading you. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. If you're it, raise your hand. You have 30 seconds to lead your group into any cross laterals that you want to create, or you can copy mine. 30 seconds. On your marks, get set, and go. gotta say, normally, when my music's working correctly, that is fun. Because I usually play conga or some real fun song, and everybody's moving to the music, and then we're done. And then the kids sit down, and guess what? They now have dopamine on the frontal lobe of their brain, and they can listen better, be engaged better.